Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com, and welcome to our Align and Flow class. And it's actually called Yoga for Longevity. Wow. It's like I want to know more, right? Two things, longevity meaning yes, longer life, a higher quality of life, but also longevity in terms of being able to practice our yoga. We often start an exercise program, running. I mean, yoga and running are different, obviously, but we might end up hurting our knees and then we can't continue on. Or, any type of exercise regime, you might not be able to continue. You only do it for short periods of time. With yoga, it's a lifetime and a lifestyle practice. It's about lifestyle. And yoga can be taken, you can do yoga for the rest of your life. Yoga doesn't have to be a formal class. It can be, some stretches and you do some cats and cows and forward bends. That's yoga. So what I'm going to do is take you through a practice where if you've done yoga before, you'll be very familiar with these poses. But I will show you kind of like more the intricacies of these poses so that you can strengthen them, but also you won't end up being injured by them. So there's a lot. It's hard to be injured in yoga unless you do wild things. You don't have to go on your head. You don't have to flip over. You don't have to have your feet on the back of your head. You can just do some basic types of stretches and postures. So what I'm going to but I would highly recommend is that you have one block and one strap. So the strap can be anything from you can grab a scarf, a belt, a belt you wear on your pants, and a block. Yes, if you have a block, that's great. If you don't worry about that. We're going to start with standing. So coming up to the front of your mat. Grab hold of that strap and unroll it. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to spin around so you can actually see me, but you'll be standing at the front, and take that strap and open it wide so that so that your elbows are pretty straight. If there's a slight bend, that's okay. You'll know how far you can stretch it based on the limitations you have. If you're very tight in the shoulders, you'll find that this might be too much. So take your strap up above your head and then then reach it back. So you're opening up the clavicles, you're opening up your pecs, while you're standing here, you're making sure that you're pretty stable in the legs, that you're not your knees are straight, your tailbone has lengthened down. So just feel that stability in the lower part of your body while you stretch out the front. So from here, we're going to start to take a deep breath in. And then let's bring the strap forward in front of your chest just for a moment. We'll do one more stretch. Lift those arms up and then pull them back. And you might need to bend the elbows, that's fine. Or straighten the arms and maybe bring the arms a little further back. Taking a deep breath and keep the chin parallel to the ground, and then let's release that strap. So you should have felt something across the chest. So from here, we're going to now move on to the next stretch. We're going to bring your right arm lifted up to the sky and bring that right hand behind your back. Your left hand on your right elbow. And take your right hand down a little further, and then this is a tricep stretch. Take a deep breath and lift up and gently stretch over to the left. So there's a little tug on that right elbow. Legs are strong here. They pull the thighs back. Softness to the knees, tailbone lengthens. Breathing in, opening up the right side of the body. Especially, and also the triceps. Inhale, lift your arms back up to center. Sweep your arms up to the sky. And let's bring that left hand back behind you. Place that right hand on that left elbow. Take a deep breath in and stretch over to the right. This, I have to say, I love. Very gentle stretch. For most of us, we can do this comfortably. And then reach your arms back up. And then if you've moved from the front of the mat, let's come back to the front of the mat. Let's sweep your arms up. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Let's exhale, fold forward into a forward bend. You can use your block if you cannot touch the ground or even get close, or hands on the shins. Let yourself settle here, knees soft, bent, or some of us, we can straighten the legs. And then let's take an inhale, place your hands on the shins, and that's exhale, forward fold, and that's inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. As you bring your hands together in front of your heart, take a pause, tailbone lengthens, draw those thighs back. So what that means is you're tightening those thighs, you're bringing your kneecaps upwards, tailbone down. I know there's a lot to think about, right? Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Let's exhale, forward fold. Let's move into a flow. Let's step your right foot back into a low lunge, low knee to the ground. Take an inhale and exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Pressing into those index fingers. Tailbone lifts up towards the ceiling. Chest presses towards the thighs, heels towards the ground. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, step your right foot between your hands. Lower your left knee down, lunging on the other side. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, step your left foot forward to your right foot. Inhaling halfway. Exhale, which is hands on the shins, and exhale, forward fold, and inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, stepping your right foot back, lowering that right knee down into your lunge. Exhale, step back into your downward facing dog. If you find this is too much on your wrists, you can always lower the knees down and sit back into an extended child's pose. Otherwise, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, step your right foot between your hands, lower your left knee down. Keep your fingertips on the ground, breathing in, stretching out that left hip flexor, and step your left foot forward, inhaling halfway. Lifting up through the tailbone, and then exhale, forward fold, and inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. So reconnect with your legs once you're in what they call this Tadasana, mountain pose. Draw the kneecaps up to the thighs, pull the thighs slightly back, lengthen that tailbone down. All these things, and as if you have a corset, draw the rib cage in, tummy muscles in. Soften the shoulders. So much to think about. Inhale, reach your arms up. This is a practice where we're going through the fine-tuning of these basic poses. Inhaling halfway. This time you're going to step back into a plank. So once in a plank, some of us may place the knees down behind your hips, not in front, but behind. Or knees up. Take a deep breath in and then lower the knees down. We're not going to do chaturanga. We're going to knees down, chest down, chin down, pause, squeeze elbows in towards your sides, and inhaling into your cobra. Cobra, you can walk your hands a little further forward so that it's not so intense on your back. And squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And lift your chest forward, spread the collarbones. You can always come onto your forearms too. That's Sphinx, which is for people who are new to yoga, that's really important to start with that. And then lower down, I'll show you that the next time I come down. Exhaling, downward facing dog, or your extended child's pose, which is where your knees are on the ground. So taking an inhale, reach your right leg back behind you. Let's exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Let's sweep the arms up. We're in a high lunge now. Reach the arms up to the sky. And then just let the arms drop next to your sides. And right knee is bent, so it's directly over your right ankle. So remember I said fine tuning, all these things. I want you to take your left leg and straighten it. So the heel presses back, pull that thigh back. Notice the difference in that left hip flexor. So rather than the bent knee, I want you to straighten it. Yeah? Right knee over that ankle. Take a deep breath in. This time reach the arms back up. Exhale, lower the hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale and exhale, step your left foot between your hands. And then let's lift up into that high lunge here. Reach your arms up to the sky. Let the arms float down to your sides. Notice how the back leg might be bent or not at engage. Now straighten that back leg by pushing that right heel down, pulling that right hip, that thigh backwards. It's a very subtle movement. Left knee over that left ankle. Notice a difference. You've just powered up those legs. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And then exhale, lower the hands down. This time step forward to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Take a moment. Take an inhale and lift all the way up to standing. Stretch through those fingers. Exhale, hands to heart. So we're going to do a standing balance, which is called a tree. You might have done this many times if you're new to this. Right foot on the left ankle. You can either take that foot and just place it on the ankle with the toes on the ground, or bring it up the leg. The highest level is inside your left thigh. So take that right hand, scoop it up until the heel is touching the groin or as close to the groin as possible. Hands in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. Take the tailbone, lengthen it down. So that's a squeezing of those bottoms. And take a pause here, but breathe and look towards something that's not moving. And if this feels pretty comfortable, arms reach. So if this is tough for you, put a finger on a wall. If you're struggling. Ankles are you're strengthening your ankles. So talk about longevity. As we get older, or even when we're younger, we lose that strength in our ankles that we had when we were younger. Bring your hands in front of your heart. We're strengthening those ankles by doing this. Lower that right foot down. Let's just do a little shake and feel into that ankle. Yeah? And then come back on the other side. Right leg is your standing leg. Left foot either on the inside of that right foot, or bring it as high as your right thigh, as close to the groin. Not on your kneecap. That's the only thing. Nowhere near your knee. Hands in front of your heart. Take your tailbone, tuck it down. So that's a kind of a squeezing of the bottom cheeks. Find a spot that isn't moving. And let the breath flow evenly. And if you're feeling okay here, reach your arms up. Remembering that when you're starting out in tree, most of us can't hold it. Even children struggle with this. So you're building up the strength in your core and your ankles and your legs so that you can actually do this. So bring your hands back to your heart. I didn't start off being able to hold. I had to actually put my hand on a wall for years before I could hold that. So come back up to the front of the mat if you've moved. Let's inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Let's fold forward, forward fold. That's inhaling halfway. Let's exhale, forward fold. Let's step back into your downward facing dog. And then inhale into your plank. Let's lower the knees down. Let's lower the chest down. Let's lower the chin down. Pause and then slither forward. I'm going to do the Sphinx this time. You can do your cobras. Forearms under, your elbows underneath your shoulders, forearms on the ground. Take a deep breath in and spread your chest. Pour the chest forward. Spread the collarbones. Looking down towards the front of the mat, but while doing that, you're pulling your head back, pressing into the big toes, softening the shoulders down. Lots to think about. Important to have someone tell you what to do, because you won't think of all these things. That's my job, to kind of remind you. Press into those hands, slide the hands right next to your chest, lift back up. Let's take a moment in child's pose. Press back to the heels, let the arms reach forward, breathing in and breathing out. And let's inhale into your tabletop. Let's curl the toes under, exhale, downward facing dog. If these downward facing dogs are starting to get to you, you can always come onto all fours and step forward from there. Take an inhale and exhale. That's if you are in a downward facing dog and you're pretty comfortable here, bend the knees, take an inhale and look forward. And as you exhale, you can jump, one jump, two jumps, multiple jumps to get to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Why not play a little bit? Make this fun. Inhale halfway. So longevity is also, you're going to continue practicing because you're having fun. If it's too serious, it's not going to be fun. You'll take it, you need to kind of laugh and giggle that this isn't that serious, and then come up nice and tall. So we're going to do the next balance, which is called half moon, but we're going to do kind of a funky version of it. One block, place it on the right corner, front right corner of your mat. And then we're going to kind of come into this weird shape. I feel like I'm a seaweed or something, or jellyfish. And then I'm going to take my right hand on that block. And my right knee is bent, my left knee is bent. I'm going to start to lift my left leg up, kind of like a dog having to pee. So just the only way I can think of this. And then both knees are bent. So this might be just enough for you. Some of you might be able to straighten your left leg. Your left hip is opening up so that it's pointing, the hip is pointing, trying to point up to the ceiling. And then maybe, just maybe, that bottom leg straightens. Some of us might need to bend that knee. Lift your left arm up, that's another option. Otherwise, you just you stay in that funky half moon. So this is a quite intense standing balance. And then lower that left foot down. Let's come into a forward bend. So we have another side. Take that block, slide it over to the left-hand side of the mat. Let's come into that funky little seaweed or jellyfish shape. Left hand on the block. If you don't have a block, you can have your hand on the floor. Take your right hand on your right hip and just start to lift your right leg up. So both knees are bent. And I'll show you. And then you start to kind of play here. This is playfulness. Both knees might stay bent. You start to open up that right knee. Lift it up so that the right hip is trying to open up, so that it's pointing upwards to the ceiling. It's squared to the right side of the mat. And then maybe, just maybe, that right leg straightens. And maybe that left leg straightens. And maybe that right arm lifts. So this is half moon. This is where you're the ideal. But not all of us are at that ideal yet. Your knees are bent, your hands are on your hips. It's hard enough here because you can feel your ankle working, and then lower your right foot down. Whew. So lots of things happening here. Come down into a forward fold and kind of wiggle around. You can even take that block and do some wiggles. And let's press back onto our hands and knees and take a pause in child's. I think we need it after that. Do a little rub of those glute muscles, thigh muscles working really hard. Let's take another deep breath in. And then let's lift up into your tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. And we're going to come from here, we're going to move into, I'm going to actually take a blanket into our pigeon pose. Now, some of us can't do pigeon because of knee issues or hip issues. So let me show you what the pigeon is first. You're going to come back downward facing dog. I like to use a blanket to give me a little extra support. Bring your right knee in towards the center of your body. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then place that right knee to the inside of that right wrist. So it's in line with the outer edge of that right side of the mat. And create, either the heel is close to your pubic bone or it's up further into a 90 degree angle. Left leg back. Now, if this doesn't work for you with the hips squared down, feel free to kind of lean over onto the right side and do like a modified pigeon, or you can lie on your back, place your right ankle on your left thigh. Okay. So I'm in the traditional pigeon with the hips squared down, coming onto my fingertips, the tops of I'm bringing my left foot into the right a little bit, lift up, separate the belly from the hips. So you're trying to make yourself as long as possible, pubic bone towards the ground, and then press down. Come down onto your forearms. Maybe find a place to rest your head. Maybe it's on a block. Maybe it's on the ground. Maybe it's on two fists. This is a hip opener. So there's lots of variations to this, because not everybody can do this. This stretches out the psoas muscles. And then slowly lift yourself back up. Curl the back toes under, step back into downward facing dog. So you kind of know where you're at this point. So if you're in the pigeon pose, the first one, then bring your left knee in towards the center, then just behind your left wrist, slide your right leg back. So your left foot is either at a 90 degree angle or closer in towards your pubic bone. Each side will feel different. Right legs, walk it into the center a little bit more, and then come onto those fingertips. Lift the belly away from the thighs. Take an inhale and exhale gently. Allow that pubic bone to drop downward, and then come all the way down. Or halfway, and see if you can find a place to rest your forehead. Obviously, closer to the ground, the more of a stretch, but this is, and you can also switch around and place your left ankle on your right thigh in the other version of the pigeon. And then take a deep breath in and walk yourself back up and curl the back toes under, step back into your downward facing dog. And then lower the knees to the ground. Whew. Lots of things to think about today in this practice, but basic yoga postures. And you might find some, this is easy, I can do this. Some not so easy. But doing it right, doing it safely is what's important. So let's swing around until our feet are pointing towards the front of the mat. We're going to lower ourselves onto our back. Take a deep breath in and let's lower down, vertebra by vertebra. If you can, you might find you have to put your hands on the ground. You might have to put your hands underneath your knees. Slow down. There's no rush here. And you might have a sticking point where you can't go any further. Then lower yourself down. Stretch through the legs, stretch through the arms. Feel that full length of your body and how good your body, or how amazing you are doing some of these postures. And maybe you've really evolved from when you first started practicing. Hug your knees into your chest. And we're going to take your left foot, place it down on the ground, and create a 90-degree angle with that right leg. Take your right hand inside the right foot or outside, or if you cannot maintain that 90-degree angle, wrap your right arm behind your left knee. Take a deep breath in and draw that right knee down as you push the foot into your hand, and extend your left leg as if you're standing on the ground. So left foot is flexed, it's flexed. Left hip is open, so you should feel the hip flexors stretching. So if you can't do the 90-degree angle, then and your leg is bent, just wrap your arms behind that knee, or you can always use a strap. And then place your right foot on top of your left thigh and open the arms out like wings, and let your right knee cross over your left leg and drop towards the left side. And turn your gaze to the right. This is a spinal twist. A variation of there's variations of different kinds of spinal twists. This is I suppose a one-legged spinal twist. And you should feel the stretch all the way through the spine, from the tailbone to the neck, to the shoulders. And then lift your legs back up. Give yourself a hug. So we hug in between because you want to realign that spine. And then let's place your right foot down, and let's grab hold of the inside of that left foot or outer edge, or wrap your arms behind your left knee. And then draw that left knee down and extend your right leg. Kick that right heel away. Wake up that right leg. Feel that hip flexor as it opens that right leg. And then what we're doing is working the joint in the left leg simultaneously. So inhaling, pushing that left foot into the hand, and then draw the knee down. Half a happy baby. So this is half a happy baby pose on the left side, which means that's what babies do. That's how they become strong. That's how they work their muscles and their joints. They learn about their bodies. So from here, release that left hand from that foot, and take your left foot on top of that right thigh, arms out like wings, palms facing up, and drop your left knee over to the right. Feeling the spine twist. Turn your gaze to the left. So by doing this, your spine will become hydrated. So what you're doing is you're giving it, like drinking, our body needs water, our spine needs movement and twists. And what it does is that's how you lubricate your joints. Water helps, but we need to move in different directions that we're not used to moving. Otherwise they get stiff and they don't move that freely. Hug your knees into your chest one more time, and let's extend your left leg to the left corner of the mat, right to the right. Oops. And toes open naturally to the side, feet, and then arms a few inches from your body, palms spin up. Take your shoulders, lift them up and slide them under. Then let yourself settle back down. Chin is slightly tucked, as if you have an apple between your chin and your chest. And close your eyes and let yourself melt into the mat, bone by bone, skin by skin. Whew. Muscle by muscle. This feels really nice. This is called Shavasana, the final resting pose, corpse pose. And this is where we just be. And I will come up to seal the practice. You continue on for the next few minutes, 2 to 5 minutes for Shavasana. After a 30-minute class, And then when you are ready, roll up and come back into your easy seat, that cross-legged seat. We begin our practice in. And always give yourself a moment to explore the shifts and to ease yourself out of your practice rather than going from yoga right back into your life again. Take it slow. Ease yourself back, transitioning it slowly. As I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal the practice, thank you so much. This is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com, and I'll see you soon.